taking the shortcut.
Let's go around. This way.
Almost there.
If you want to walk the long way,
In this
go
scene,
for it.
Joy,
But Riley
Sadness,
needs to
and
be
Bing Bong
happy.
are heading
I'm
towards
not
the
missing
tunnel
much
that
sleep.
leads to
Bing
the
Bong
train
knows what he's doing.
station.
He's
Before
probably
crossing
alert.
this road, you see with me that the door of the tunnel is fully open before the entrance of Joy, Sadness, and Bing Bong to the tunnel. But moments after Riley appeared in the school restaurant, another shot appeared quite different from the first shot. In the second shot, when the miners came, the door appeared open only half before being closed by the miners, after it was fully open in the previous shot.
When I tell you, you'll be at headquarters in no time.
When we see the two shots together, it turns out that there was a mistake. Thus, the director of the film did not notice that the first scene and the second scene are different. The first scene shows us the door is open. The second scene shows that the door is only half open. Riley went to her room angry. The dark strip on her shirt was clearly visible after the door was opened by the father. But in the next shot, the tape disappeared from the Riley shirt and did not appear.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I give this day an F.
Well, why don't we quit standing around and do something?
Like what, genius?
Like quitting. That's what I'm doing. Sure, it's the coward's way out, but this coward's gonna survive.
Emotions can't quit, genius. Ugh, I thought we were supposed to be keeping Riley happy.
Now in the world of dream production, feelings, joy, and sadness, and Bing Bong were walking, and before them a group of clouds were 6. In the second scene and immediately disappeared a group of clouds suddenly. These clouds were before the feelings, but now an error occurred and did not show a set of clouds. The huge clown was carrying a huge hammer in his hand. This hammer was the color of its limbs light color.
Oh, good.
In the next scene the color of the clown's hammer changes from light color to yellow. And if we compare the first scene and the second scene, you will see that the color of the hammer is different. When Joy tried to move to headquarters, the whole shelf crashed, and most of the scenes showed that the shelf was shattered in the scenes that are now being displayed. But an error occurred in the second scene, where the back of the shelf, non-crusher,
I got it. Make her feel scared. That'll make her change her mind. Brilliant. I know it's brilliant.
When the end of the movie approached, a very fatal error occurred.
You broke it.
Let me do it.
Guys, we can't make Riley feel...
Emotions tried to control Riley's ideas, but they could not, and the control panel began to turn black. At the end of the control panel became black, but a small part of them. After a few minutes, the control panel appeared again, black, and a large part of which is black. In the previous scene, only a small part remained, and now a large part is not black. It was expected to become completely black. You remember very well the moment Riley and her family arrived at the new house. At that moment, Riley was disappointed. Remember the scene, after Riley got out of the car? Because in the next shot Riley holds in her hand a hockey stick and a backpack. As you well noticed, Riley did not carry a hockey stick and backpack before entering the house, but now Riley has a hockey stick in her hand and a backpack as well.
It smells like
This mistake was not noticed. As you have noticed, Riley does not carry anything as she descends from the car. After entering the house, the hockey stick and the backpack suddenly appeared. If we compare the first scene and the second scene,
starting to envy the dead mouse.
Get out the rubber ball.
we find that the first scene Riley does not carry a backpack and a hockey stick. But in the second scene Riley carrying a backpack and a hockey stick.
Very nice. Okay, looks like you got this. Very good. Oh, that's right, turn. Ah, look out!
That's Fear. He's really good at keeping Riley safe.
Easy, easy, huh? Hi, back! Oh, we're good. We're good.
There was a serious mistake at the beginning of the film, and it is about the color of an electric wire. In the first scene where Riley was playing, when I approached the wire color was light color. In the second scene, when Riley tried to approach the wire, the color of the wire appeared to be dark brown. After comparing the first scene and the second scene, it clearly shows that there is a difference in color between the wire in the first scene and the color of the wire in the second scene, and this is a very serial user, not noticed by the film production team.
Van won't be here until Thursday. You're kidding.
Oh yeah, the van is lost.
You said it would be here yesterday.
The biggest mistake is to have an object in the first scene, but there is not in the second scene. In this scene, Riley's father holds a phone in his hand.
You're kidding.
Oh yeah, the van is lost.
You said it would be here yesterday.
But in the second scene the phone disappeared from his hand, and here the question arises, where is the phone?
No, that's what I said. That's what they told me.
Note in the first and second scene the error is prominent. The first scene is the father holding a mobile phone in his hand, but in the pro scene there is no phone in his hand.
Definitely not when Dad was singing.
Wearing a seatbelt.
Oh, what about the time with the dinosaur?
In one scene, Joy recalled memories of the best moment that Riley had with her family in the car when she came to San Francisco, where the car lurched in apocalyptic and the car crashed to the rear.
Nice one, Joy.
I like that time with the dinosaur. That was pretty funny.
We will return the scene to you to discover the grave error. We see that the Rayleigh family is wearing tourist clothes. The father is wearing a red shirt, the mother is wearing a gray shirt, and Riley is wearing a green jacket.
Nice one, Joy.
I like that time with the dinosaur. That was pretty funny.
But when the Riley family was in the car their clothes were different. Riley was dressed in various colors when she was in the car, but on the anniversary it turned out that Riley was wearing a green jacket, and that was a mistake not noticed, and it appears that Riley was wearing a dress of different colors and clearly when getting off the car. The father, who was driving the car, was dressed in gray, but there is a difference between the dress he wears and the dress he wears in the memories. We see that his clothes were red. This mistake shows us that there is a contradiction between family dress while riding in the car and family dress in memories. Even the mother had her dress yellow when she was in the car, but the memories showed that her dress was gray. At the beginning of the film, there was an error not noticed, and the character of the father Riley is the one who got the error. After Riley's birth, and after Riley opened her eyes to see her parents, we see that Riley's father's hair color is brown, and this shows us clearly as we are now seeing in this scene. But in the other scenes, Riley's father has black hair in various scenes. The mistake was repeated in the old house in Minnesota and in the car when they came to San Francisco, and in the new house as well. After comparing the first scene and the second scene we see that there was a very serious error, and this error was not noticed by the film production team. Here we show you other screenshots containing this error. When Riley was playing, there was a serious mistake during this scene. The distance between the carpet and the wall, which is marked with a letter L, is very short. In this scene we see that the carpet is close to the wall. In the next scene, the distance between the carpet and the wall became longer than before, and as I followed before, the carpet and the wall were very close. One of the most difficult things during film production is the work of successive scenes, such as this scene, in which the first scene and the second scene appear different.
We're good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And we're back. Let's go over there.
The hockey lamp goes there.
Put the chair there.
Well, the trophy collection.
Adding some glamour to Riley's room was a good idea of Joy.
Man, let's go get our stuff from the moving van.
When Riley went down to the ladder to get her things out of the truck, Riley was wearing red shoes in her legs.
All right. Goodbye. Well, guess what? The movie
After her descent, Riley discovered that her parents were quarreling, and Riley was at that moment wearing her shoes, and she did not take him off his legs.
I know that's what I said. That's what they told me.
They're stressed out. What are we gonna do?
What is their problem?
In the next scene, the shoe did not appear in Riley's foot, after it was worn in the previous scene, and as you now see, it is a fatal mistake.
Hey. Oh, no, you're not. Coming behind you. Watch out. Watch out. What was that? Was it a bear? It's a bear.
There were no bears in San Francisco.
I saw a really hairy guy. He looked like a bear.
Oh, I'm so jumpy. My nerve.
Before Riley slept, I felt a lot of fear in the new house, and after the scene was restored, we saw that the door was open.
What was that? Was it a bear? It's a bear.
There were no bears in San Francisco.
I saw a really hairy guy. He looked like a bear.
Oh, I'm so jumpy. My nerve.
Come on. But we all have our off days, you know. Hi, honey.
The mom
In the next scene, the mother came to Riley, and the door was supposed to be closed, but before the mother entered the room, the door was closed, and this was a mistake not noticed.
Hi, honey.
The mom bad news train is pulling in. Doot, doot.
Still no moving van.